Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's Thursday. It's Korner Booth pregame.
Hey, is this thing on? Hello, testing.
No debate, cause it's over. I'm too official, got the drip, I got the stores. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, yeah. Still standing and defiant. Slay the competition, cause I'm walking like a giant.
What's up, Twitter world? There's my little OJ.
He's got an autographed OJ photo.
Has anybody heard the story about the Glizzy guy?
He fits today's generation.
Oh yeah, speaking of lady basketball players, Lola Bunny, bonkable. Yes or no?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Korner Booth Podcast. I am your raspy host voice, Mr. Jerry Clem. It has been a long 2 days for me. I've been sick as a dog, but I'm hanging in there. So I told the boys I needed one more day to get myself up to snuff, and say 70% healthy is up to snuff. I was able to do a little cardio today, did some stuff around the house, so we're getting better. Sunday, I was a nightmare. I cannot move. And yesterday was pretty bad too, but getting there. I usually don't get sick, so my way of handling it is not great. So that being said, we did have an amazing football weekend. So we're going to start off with that. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is my co-host. He is a diehard Jets fan. I don't know how he's going to feel about the Rex Ryan topic today, but it should be interesting either way. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Ordazzo.
The only thing I know about Rex Ryan right now is that I was told by a beat writer with the Jets, Connor Hughes, that was not happening. I'm sure there's something else that I'm not aware of, but as far as I was concerned and what I was told, that was not going to happen.
It's more about him gassing up or pissing off half the team in the league with the shit he says on Countdown. But
yeah, he's always been one of those guys that has not the greatest takes, but he sticks with it. He doesn't change his mind. He sticks with it. It just doesn't always work out.
Yeah, no, I liked Rex. I like Buffalo Rex. I like Jets 1 Rex. Hell, I like Ravens Rex, but just him on ESPN, he just gets irritating.
Yeah, when you give him a platform and you got to see him every day, like football's fine because I only see him like once a week, or I see him every now and then. I just see him a lot from September to December, and I don't hear from him again until like August, which is fine. But if you give him a platform, you hear him every day. Yeah, it's gonna get a little old after a while, but. I love Rex. I don't really want a round 2 with him. It's not the worst thing that we could do.
Yeah.
We could go, give a job to Matt Nagy, but
I guess there's worse things you could do, right? Also joining us in the background is our producer extraordinaire, Nate Wynn. What's up, buddy?
Hi, guys. Hope y'all well, man. Jared, I hope you get better. You don't sound.
I'm feeling honestly, energy-wise, I'm 100%.
There you go.
My voice and everything else, so.
Love it. Matt, good to see you, as always. Yeah, man. Both of our teams, man. New York teams, but, dealing with some stuff. So we got a lot of things to evaluate this offseason.
What are you guys dealing with? You guys didn't fire anybody.
Oh, we got a lot of things to worry about. And it's not the coaching staff. It's our players.
Personnel, yeah.
Must be nice. I always have to deal with my coaching staff.
Damn.
Personnel.
Well, we're keeping our defensive coordinator. Sucks, but we're keeping him. Yay. Shane Bowen once again. It's almost be torn up by Jalen Hurts again next year again.
Let's be honest, it was more Saquon Barkley, but
Yeah, there you go.
What are you guys even doing with Mike Kafka?
We're letting him interview for head coaching jobs.
Who's interviewing him?
We'll give you guys more.
The Bears.
He doesn't even run the offense. Isn't that Dable?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Apparently, he's getting interview requests from teams like the Bears.
It's all right. I don't know. The Jets interviewed Mike Loxley from Maryland, which is interesting. If not to make this bad, if this was in the beginning, this definitely would have been one of those Rooney Rule things.
Yeah.
But this was well after. This was like the 40th coach that they interviewed. So I'm like, oh, the 33rd team must said, go take a look at him. All I see is that I know you can't really make too many moves because a lot of teams that have very intriguing coordinators are still in the playoffs. But, Yeah, they're still interviewing. I'm like, kind of like, can you make up your mind? But I know, I want with Mike Vrabel gone, I want Aaron Glenn, and he can't do that until Detroit either wins the Super Bowl or loses in the championship game.
Let's be honest, we didn't really think Vrabel was going out anywhere else, but
I honestly thought there was a good
maybe Las Vegas.
I honestly thought there was a good chance he could have been the Jets coach until I saw Mayo was gone. Once Mayo was gone,
your beliefs. I love your beliefs. I saw that one not having a shot in hell. So,
well, once Mayo was fired, I knew that all hope was gone. That was where he was definitely going. But when he was still employed, I thought there was a decent chance.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you guys have a better chance than like New Orleans getting him. So,
yeah.
Dear New Orleans Saints, please hire our offensive coordinator. He has the football IQ of a 2x4.
He's very sporadic with his offense because it's like I don't know. It's just is the passing game just not as good as the run game is this year? Or?
No. So this is why my title is what it is. So I don't know if you guys saw Yukon Husky, Dan Orschlowski was on Get Up this morning or First Take with Stephen A. and Shannon. And he broke it down yesterday. How it always seemed like after a 2-3 step drop, and you can go in all 22 and look at it yourself. So I went and did it the same thing because I didn't believe it. I think it was 85% of the snaps the Packers had the read before Jalen was in his drop. The route concepts were not, nobody was getting open. So, and the Packers have a great defense, but it was not that great. They're missing Jair Alexander, who's obviously the best cover corner. It seemed very predictable, very Brian Johnson-esque yesterday, which kind of bugged me. They still found a way to win because, the guys made plays when they needed to. And the defense played out of their minds. But Stephen A. yelling at Dan Orlovsky today about that, and then about Sam Darnold last night. When, to be honest, yeah, Sam Darnold wasn't great, but similar thing where it looked like the Vikings' entire play calling was scared. Like they got popped in the jaw, they were down 17-0, and nobody was doing jack. That was the most defeated football team I've ever seen walk into a second half game. That was ugly. Like I saw Jared Verse, who's a large man, running and doing somersaults in the end zone, doing like diving, like crazy stuff, like right. Just a very weird weekend. But Sandra, we'll talk about that game in a second. I don't know how we got to this topic, but
yeah, I might have enhanced it when I was talking about the schemes of Philly, but it's a lot of great games this weekend. There's actually a lot of very good, not only just NFL, but a lot of great college football playoff games as well.
Yeah, my Eagles had to make it interesting. They couldn't just kick the crap out of them and let me sleep. Nope. Had to stress the entire game, which was not good because I was sick as a dog on Sunday.
You should read a book.
I know Saquon would just
actually I have it on my Amazon cart. I haven't bought it yet.
No, you did not. Oh my God, you did.
Actually, it's an interesting book. I'm not gonna lie. I'll actually might give it a read.
What book is this?
Boss, you don't read, do you?
Yeah, I listen to ebooks usually, but still my favorite is Unstoppable by Tim Grover, Michael Jordan's trainer. It's still my favorite book I've ever listened to.
Oh.
I still have not watched Enigma.
Oh, me too. I gotta watch that.
What's Enigma?
The Rogers documentary, boss.
Yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I could just care less.
I'm gonna be so angry, Nate. I'm gonna be so angry that whole time. I already know it.
Listen,
I'd rather not watch
it. If it's like Last Dance, where it's newsworthy every episode, yeah, I'll watch it. But if it's something like lame stuff, like brother, I'll watch a 30 for 30 that was done by like a director 10 years ago because it'll probably have more relevancy.
It's gonna make me so mad knowing we're 5-12, and it's gonna show me the whole breakdown of getting there. I don't even want to know.
Well, this is what so Amazon did the their All or Nothing series on the Eagles in 2019, which that season was such a cluster F. And then I had to, and it was fun for the first week because Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey were playing out of their minds. Then they both get hurt, and then basically the season's a crapshoot for the rest of the year. Then the Carson drama started. I hate documentaries like that. So I get it. I do. The only one I've watched the last couple of years that I actually enjoyed for one of my teams was the Diamondbacks did a series called Snakes Alive. And it was like basically just a whole series about the improbable 2023 season that made no sense, but it was fun. So I enjoyed it.
I gotta watch the sack exchange one, the 30 for 30 on that. I gotta. That's one at least I can watch. That I won't be angry at because we were whatever in the 80s and 70s.
Fair enough. All right. I already know I only got about maybe 45 minutes till my voice goes. So
There we go.
we'll get rock and rolling here. We already talked a little bit about it. I guess we'll keep going. Rex Ryan has now motivated the Chiefs and now the Texans. We'll start off with that. But the opening headline, ladies and gents, is Jimmy Harbaugh and his khakis can pound sand. One, this man has screwed me in fantasy back-to-back weeks. And then on top of that, in betting, he screwed me twice. I hate Jim Harbaugh. I hate the Chargers. And if I hear one more person tell me Justin Herbert is better than Jalen Hurts, I will actually do a backflip into like a bed of nails.
Do it!
Like into a bed of nails, Nate, really?
Oh, no. Sorry. I thought.
Yeah, let me finish it, brother. But
He just heard backflip.
I love the enthusiasm, though. But my biggest problem is with Justin Herbert is, yeah, there was no – I think his completion percentage to Lat McConkey is like 70%. To the rest of his receivers, it was 30. And I understand they're not elite weapons here, but if a quarterback should be at least have a 50% completion percentage to other weapons. I think that has something to do with the offense with Greg Roman, as well as something to do with Justin Herbert's talent itself. So at the end of the day, I think it's a hat on the hat. I think it was a bad OC choice. But at the same time, the Texans just got rolling and they never stopped. That game was close for about maybe 20 minutes. And the Chargers could only get 6 points off of 2 drives. You know it was a problem. By the way, Matt, love your new mustache, by the way.
Thank you. Trying to grow it out a little more, get a little quicker, comb
Get
it
a
down.
little,
I'm just looking at Herbert. So Herbert did play. All right, played one game in 2022, so he's in the playoffs wise. Because Herbert is a fantastic regular season quarterback. He is a guy that does not commit a lot of errors, doesn't turn the ball over too much. Is relatively clean quarterback as long as you give him some players. I mean, he's been great with. I would say that he has overexceeded the expectations this year. I thought they were going to be I believe I had him in the middle of like the 7-8 win mark. I just think that I thought it wasn't going to be a great year for them with everything that they lost, but they turned out to have a playoff berth season. But Herbert in the playoffs, he's 0 for 2. He has, where am I looking at? He's 39 for 75 in the playoffs. He's 0 for 2. He's got 515 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He's got a 60.7 rating. He's been sacked 7 times in the playoffs. He's just not. I mean, I know he's only played 2 playoff games in his career. He's a young man. He has a long, long time ahead of him, but he has not really proven to be a clutch quarterback in January for the Chargers. Not saying he needs to go. I'm just saying if I had to choose between Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert may commit less turnovers in the regular season.
I think Hurts
than
had less turnovers if you count out after
what I'm
4.
getting at is that Hurts and Herbert can get you to the playoffs, but Hurts has proven that he can get you to the motherland. And I would take Hurts in the playoffs over Herbert.
Yeah, Hurts isn't afraid to make the throw. That's the difference. Also, my biggest problem with Herbert is that he is the most talented mid-tier quarterback right now. He has the gifts and everything to be an elite tier, but I don't think mentally he's up there. I put him in the same category as Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. That is where I put him. A high-level B-plus quarterback. But you will win 11 to 15 games, depending on how loaded your roster is with that guy at quarterback. But your roster has to be airtight to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. And that there's a good amount of pieces that are still left. They still need another receiver because Quentin Johnson, it really is not.
Tyreek Hill, baby, come on. Get that speed up there.
I mean, that'd be great for him. Just Quentin Johnson's just not turning out what he was hyped up to be.
A mile, and just Tyreek runs underneath it. See, the thing is about Herbert. Herbert might be the only person who has a stronger arm than Mahomes, maybe Josh Allen too. But you're talking about 3 strongest arms in football. It's Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, and Mahomes. So I think he'll enjoy himself.
He's get a deep threat like that who can catch the ball, unlike some back there. Honestly, I think the big reason why they went as far as they did as well is because they got a full year out of J.K. Dobbins. You now know what kind of running back J.K. Dobbins is when he is healthy and he is not injured for the entire season. He looked fantastic this year, and I think that really helped them a lot. I think coaching obviously helped. They were 1 and done in the playoffs, but Jim Harbaugh is light years better than Brandon Staley as a head coach, and that's a big deal for that team and for Herbert going forward.
I mean, listen, if you're saying Brandon Staley, the bar was here, Jimmy H is here. So It's not bad. It's not bad. I want to see improvement, though. I mean, Big Cat made a good point on PMT on part of my take the other day. He said this was supposed to be kind of like the build it back year. So they weren't supposed to make the playoffs with the roster they had, but they did. So this is kind of their expectation. Listen, give it credit to the Texans. We saw vintage CJ Stroud again.
Yeah, he didn't look good the whole game, but he still finished it at the end. That's the most important.
He looked sloppy in the beginning, but once the Chargers game plan phased off, he was hitting crazy throws, improvising, doing everything he needed to do. Poor guy only has one healthy receiver, though. It really sucks. It's just Mechie and Collins right now. So, all right, Saturday night game. I was at a bar hopping watching this here, but yeah, this was not as close as the score indicates. It was 20. Last time I checked before I left for the second bar at my buddy's bachelor party, it was 21-0. I guess the Steelers had a couple late drives, but this is exactly how we expected it. That's how I feel about it. Any wrong thoughts there?
No, I don't think. I agree with that because, like you said, I was watching the game too, and there was a point in time where the Ravens were up 3-0, and then the Steelers, like you said, just had a couple good drives, made it a 21-14 kind of game, pulled away a little bit at the end. The Steelers were on, I believe it was a 4-game losing streak heading into the playoffs. This was their 5th consecutive loss. There's just something about losing 4 games in a row heading to the playoffs where it's not easy to just be like, all right, starting from scratch, here we go, let's do it. No, this is you need momentum going to the playoffs. They had none. They lost 4 in a row. That team looked defeated. Even with Pickens back, that offense still looked like it wasn't going. Najee Harris only had 17 yards on 6 carries that entire game. They only gave the ball to Jalen Warren twice. There was 11 total rushes between Wilson, Warren, and Harris, a total of 29 yards that whole game. The run game, Najee Harris was great for them this year. I mean, he had another 1,000+ for a season, but he just looked good. He kept them in the game. He converted a bunch of first downs for him. He was good. I'm pretty sure he was good in the goal line. Warren wasn't bad either, but I mean, they had a solid run game, and the offense was clicking with Russ for a little bit. And he didn't even have a bad game. 20 for 29, 270 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Russ didn't have a bad game. He may or may not be back there next year. I don't know what his contract is, but the Ravens were just a better team. It seems very Steelers-esque to bring him back, but the Ravens had a Ravens game. I mean, Lamar had 175 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, but he also wound up having 81 yards on the ground. King Henry, 186 yards against that Steelers defense. Steelers defense that's known for a very, very good, strong defense. 186 yards, 300 yards rushing for that team. I'm like you said, it wasn't as close as it looks. You look at the stats, you look at the numbers, they cakewalked them. I don't know how they're going to fare against Buffalo. This is, I'm not a big Buffalo fan. This is looking like Buffalo's year to possibly go all the way. You got like what looks on paper to be a weaker Chiefs team, but Ravens handled business. Now they have Buffalo this coming week. Steelers 10-7, 1 and done heading into the offseason. A lot of Mike Tomlin questions. Mike Tomlin shutting them down, saying, save your time. I'm not for sale. But I don't know. We'll see. It's just Steelers' season. 10-7, above 500, 1 and done playoffs.
Yeah, to me, it was kind of business as usual. We know this is the prove-it year for Lamar. We know Russ is limited on offense. We know the Steelers have chemistry problems. They got hot early in the year and kind of got them to the playoffs. This is literally typical Steelers. So, Ravens are the second most complete team in the AFC behind Buffalo. I put Kansas City in their own little area because they're not complete, but they're not incomplete. They're this weird amoeba that just wins games. Either way, Yeah, that's all I got about this game. I was not impressed, but Baltimore just did what they're supposed to do. They basically did what Philadelphia did. They easily could have beaten them by more, but they made mistakes. They didn't run up the score, and they just kind of just got out with win. That's all it is. Talking about running up the score, yeah, this headline says it right there. BTA belt to ass. That was a butt whooping.
Yeah.
31 unanswered.
Yeah.
Whew, that was awful. I mean, it was funny because I'm sitting at my grandmother's house. My two cousins were watching the game, and we're kind of waiting for stuff to get installed at my grandmother's house. And we're kind of sitting there with my dad, and he's like, "Is Buffalo that much better than Denver?" I'm like, Denver's pretty good this year, but yeah. What happens if you bring a rookie quarterback with no real weapons into the league and say, "Hey, here's a pissed off buzzsaw with a quarterback on a Herculean level run." Anybody even took Denver to cover on this game was a dummy. Like, I'll just say it right now. Like, where did you think this was going to go?
I don't know. I was really hoping that for that surprise upset. Obviously, here, obviously me being an AFC's fan, I'm not a fan of anybody in my division. I want to see anybody have success. But
yeah,
Broncos, listen, they had a very fun and exciting season. There was a lot of question marks of Bo Nix going into the NFL. He had the most college experience of any of the quarterbacks, but nobody was really sure how it was going to translate in the league. He started off a little rough, had a great last half of the season. Actually, he had probably a great middle and end of the season. But gets his team to 10-7, gets him to the playoffs, and it was fun for the first half. I will say, even though it was 10-7 at the half, it was a really good, fun game. Both teams were playing hard, and it was just competitive back and forth football, and it was good to watch. And then Buffalo just pulled away in the second half. Bo Nix just didn't have it. He had probably 40% of his passing yards he had on the ground. He had 43 yards on the ground, 144 passing. Some costly drops that I was watching on that team, but it just we all knew Buffalo was going to win. We just didn't know
the energy of the game. The second Buffalo got up by 2 scores, you're like, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah, you didn't know how bad they were going to lose. You just knew they were going to lose, and Buffalo wound up beating them by 2 scores.
It was basically like when you're walking across thin ice. It's not when it breaks, it's how long you're going to make it before it breaks.
Yeah, and James Cook continued his amazing season with 120 yards on the ground for a touchdown. He's just having an amazing year. I'm pretty sure they said in the beginning of the game that he broke it was O.J. Simpson's single season touchdown record. I think it was like 16. He tied him, something like that. I believe that's what the stat was. But shout out to him. Buffalo's just having a great season.
Yeah,
that was ugly.
This game was ugly. This game was a physical butt whooping. The score does not indicate how bad Philadelphia was just punching them in the head. And I felt bad for Green Bay because they had so many injuries. But Philadelphia, honestly, should have won the game by at least 28. You had the fake tush push where Jalen missed A.J. Brown by about a foot. It would have been a walk-in touchdown or at least a 40-yard gain. Saquon takes the knee after breaking away for like 50 yards. Would have been cool to see him bust that one open because then he would have had the most rushing yards division weekend, but whatever. He was the second to James Cook by 1 yard. Quinyon Mitchell, first NFL interception. Woohoo!
When it matters the most.
Yeah, and I see a lot of Packers fans saying the referee calls were questionable. Oh, they were, but for both teams. And the problem is that they're only pointing out the ones that the Eagles got away with. There were a couple of times where the Packers got away with murder. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Or when the receiver, I think it was like the second drive, where the receiver literally leaned in to Quinyon Mitchell and then fell into him. They called that pass interference. I was like, what? But
we got our first comment of the day.
Go Birds, buddy.
Oh, Alexa, Birds, whoever you are on my phone.
I have to go yell at my racist, the racist owner of the Clippers now, Donald Sterling. Or wait, does that mean Lawrence Fishburne is going to play me in a movie?
I don't think that's how that's going to work. But hey, to each their own. If it works, it works.
I can make a joke right now, but we're going to hold on. We're a family thing right now.
Yes, we are in the 2009 WWE era. We don't bleed. We don't do chair shots. We are clean as a whistle. This was a I don't know if I could just be one of the only. I knew Philly was going to win this game. I'm not just saying that because they actually did win the game. It's just when Jordan Love is going into the game already with the shoulder injury, and all of a sudden you're watching that game, and I don't know if it was just me, but I would take a sip of my drink, look down at my phone for a second to see who texted me, and I look up and there is a new Packer being carted away off the field. I lost count after maybe 5 or 6 guys that I saw leave that game injured and not come back. And then, like I said, you got a quarterback with a banged up shoulder. You're losing guys left and right on both sides of the football. It was one of those games where it was just kind of felt more like, all right, can we just end this now? Can we just wave the white flag? Can we get the mercy rule in there? He looked bad. He had 3 interceptions on the game. Josh Jacobs was the only sound performer, having 81 yards on the ground, having 40 yards in the air, touchdown.
They had Jaden Reed going until he got hurt.
Yeah, I just
he had like 5 or 7 50 yards. He was starting to cook, and then he got hurt.
They were dropping flies left and right.
You know what? That's just a dead indicator your season's over. It doesn't matter what the scoreboard is. Even if they won that by some miracle, they're not beating LA. They're not beating Washington or the Detroit Lions. They're done. So this quickly turned into a mercy killing, and not even a mercy finish. I reword that. Because here's the deal. The Packers are going to be a great team next year. Got Jacobs on a contract. Hopefully, they can go get a weapon that's not made of glass like 80% of the receivers. Got a young tight end. Got a quarterback on a contract. Got a good defense. Why not? But it just – that's the way the dominoes fall, man. This was us in 2019.
Yeah, listen – Eagles played well. I mean, in the sense of they won the game. I know there were some mistakes made. I know there was a little bit of sloppiness, but
we played like crap.
If Saquon scored that touchdown instead of kneeling it, I think there would be a lot different of an attitude going around if the score was 29-10 instead of 22-10. But at the end of the day, what matters most is that you guys won the game. It wasn't pretty. You still won. You still advanced to the next round. You have things you can clean up. But like I said, most important thing is you survive for another week.
Win ugly or don't win at all.
It doesn't have to be pretty, but as long as it's a win.
No, I got you.
Next one will be the greatest game of the weekend.
This was the best game of the weekend by far. It honestly made me laying in bed sick as hell with a little bit of a fever and not being able to breathe properly for about 2 days. This game made it worth it.
You know it's good when Nate shows his head for the first time in like 3 months.
Oh, trust me, I'm not trying to show my hair. I'm trying to, replicate, a specific player that Oh, sorry, I gotta fix my hair again. Sorry.
Oh, a Baker?
No, the kicker.
Oh, Zane Gonzalez.
He was like over here fixing his hair, putting his helmet back on, fixing his hair again. Oh, I need to
my ADHD was kicking off when it wasn't in-game action. I was on my phone or playing Xbox or sleeping. It was no real I would come back to consciousness for the snap. That would basically be it.
Clutch kick by him though. But we know what happened though in that game. That one fumble just,
dude. And this is it. Literally, to quote the great Al Pacino, "It's a game of inches."
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, I even sound like him.
Yeah, with that voice of yours, man.
You kind of do.
I might have to literally just start reading off the Any Given Sunday speech by the end of this thing. But no, it's a game of inches, and it came up short. That fumble was it. The Commanders played as much mistake-free football as they could. They hung in the game, and they waited for the other team to make a mistake, and they capitalized. That's football. So, are the Bucs out because of their own doing? Yes. Are they still a great team? Yes. Are the Commanders a better team? Not really, but this was honestly the most balanced game of the weekend.
It seemed like I would say both teams have questions on each side of the ball, you can say. I mean, you got one receiver pretty much in Tampa, minus McMillan, who's been coming alive a little bit. But both teams have some question marks on each side or different sides of the ball. They're pretty much an equal team, I would say. This was actually a pretty solid matchup right there. Great game, though. I mean, Jaden Daniels is him. I know Chris and I have said it before. We watch him in LSU. We knew of his capabilities. I knew he was did not want him in the NFC East because of this exact reason. But he is a baller. He knows how to win games. He just has that gene in him. And he played great for his rookie year. He played great for his rookie playoff game. He had 2 touchdowns. He has 36 yards on the ground, 268 in the air. Mayfield he didn't even play terrible. He completed 15 of 18 with 2 touchdowns. It's not even like he had a bad game. It was just that one little costly fumble. Run game really wasn't going a lot. But just great game, and the doink just happened to work in the Commanders' favor. They survived for one more week because we all know the Lions are going to take them down. But it's just been a really impressive, fun to watch season for Jaden Daniels, and hopefully for years to come, he can just continue to get better and better. I know for your guys' sake, that's terrible, but he's a hard guy to not like because he's just a guy that you really want to succeed.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you, the Bucs have a good system, and the Bucs are going to be in the same position I think the Packers are next year. They're going to be a threat. It's just so are the Falcons, because I think Penix is only going to get better, and the Panthers. The NFC South might be the best division in football next year because, the Saints are going to be ass until we're in our 50s, but the Panthers are going to be an 8-9 team, 9-8 team next year guaranteed. I will put money on that right now. The Bucs are probably going to be around the same, but the Falcons, another year with new head coach, new OC, another year with Michael Penix under his belt, Drake London, Darnell Mooney. Apparently, they want to go get a slot guy in the draft. I'm okay with it. I think that's the best team in the AFC South next year. So I think this is the Bucs' one shot to kind of separate. But honestly, they're the survivor team. Half their team was injured for 80% of the year. So they just kind of survived, and this is the end of the line, unfortunately. It's just luck.
We go another year of everybody drafting Kyle Pitts, hoping that this is his breakout year.
Not me, brother. Never. All right.
Oh, God, this is the worst game of the week.
I felt so bad for my father. He came home last night. He'd been out with my grandma for the past week and a half. I'm like, yeah, we're having dinner. I'm like, yeah, you guys kick off in about a half hour. I get off. I was doing a couple things. I sit down on my chair. I look over. I'm like, oh, that says 10-0. Son of a bitch. Okay, well, this is going to be an ugly night. Just, like I said before, that whole entire team looked scared yesterday. It wasn't just on Darnold. Was Darnold to blame? Yes. Was he top 3 to blame? Probably not. O-line wasn't blocking anybody. The offensive game plan was terrible.
Yeah. I mean, there was
no keep it for Rams. I don't think we do this enough where we say what went wrong. It's like what went right for the Rams. The pass rush got after it. The secondary was making plays. They capitalized off turnovers, and they moved the football against an elite defense. So, hey, Rams, you got me scared a little bit for next week. Good job. Sean McVay and the boys, you played for LA.
Oh, Jared is so scared.
In the playoffs, Nate, I have a different mentality.
You got it, boss.
Every game is a game you could lose, so you take every game seriously.
You're damn right. I wouldn't know. I haven't, been in the
playoffs.
No,
actually, it's a lie. When we played you guys in the divisional round 2 years ago, I was like, how long till we beat you guys out? I had friends over, and we were drinking, and I literally said about 7 beers deep in that first quarter, I was like, all right, how long till we start whooping their ass? We'll start playing darts.
It's like y'all took it easy enough to start to see where we're at and just increase your trying ability as you move along.
The Eagles always have one blowout win in their in a Super Bowl. When the year they go to the Super Bowl, there's always one blowout playoff win. So except 04. 04 was all like nail biters. But 17, we BTA'd the Vikings. 2022, we whooped everybody we played. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough road because now we got LA. Then the winner of the Commanders versus Lions game. If it's the Commanders, some miracle. I want blood.
Of course you do. It's the damn Commanders. It's our rivals.
I want Frankie Louvu to get put in the bleachers.
What did he ever do to you?
He gave Jalen Hurts that concussion.
Right.
He ended my fantasy championship.
Right. Yeah, there you go. That'll do.
Not just the fact that the Seahawks game plan against the Bears that following week was terrible too, but because Jaden Daniels played good for me as my backup. Yeah, I was not happy.
I saw classic old school New York Sam Darnold in that game when I was watching it. I know I have been, you could say, maybe a little Sam Darnold hater this past year. That's just because I'm salty and I'm a 5-12 New York Jets fan, and Sam Darnold was once my quarterback. and we all know how that went. But I mean, I'm genuinely happy to see him go 14-3. He is a great kid. He, plays tough, plays hard, loves the game. Great to see him succeed. He's a guy you can easily like. He's not somebody that you easily dislike. The thing is that when he is pressured and he has no protection and he is forced to make plays right on a whim, he's got to break the pocket, he's got to scramble, he's got to run around. That is when he is at his weakness. When he is pressured, that is when he sees ghosts. And I saw a lot of those tendencies yesterday, but I also saw a lot of the Vikings drawing up, I guess you could say, long routes, just in the sense of like they weren't doing some quick short passes. No, but you know what? Some screen passes on these blitzes, some little check down passes, some quick slants, something over the middle, off to the side, just something small, quick to get 5-10 yards makes a big difference. You can't go for these 15, 20 plus yard plays when you're getting pressured and rushed like that. And he was just not comfortable, and you could see it. They only put up 9 points. Those fumbles were costly. The interception was costly. I don't know. I don't know if it's possible to say if this is a little bold, but he could have gone from a 3 to 5 year, $40 million a year contract to, I don't know, maybe he gets another 1-2 year deal for 12, 15 million a year. If that, he could be fighting again for another roster spot with, or for a starting position with another quarterback on the season. But this is just one of those games, especially in your 14-3, you go into the playoffs, you were very close to having that 1 seed and getting the bye. And then you play like this and you lose in the first round on a 1 year deal when you've been pretty much a backup for the last 3-4 years. This is one of those performances that might tarnish your worth or whatever your chances are of getting a huge deal in the offseason. This might be another one of those years where he takes a $20 million contract and plays for another team to see if he can get that starting spot over a rookie again.
Well, lucky for him, there's really only 2 quarterbacks who can start day 1 in the draft. So a team like the Raiders, who maybe goes and gets Dylan Gabriel in the 2nd or 3rd round, or a team like the Giants, who goes against Jackson Dart, maybe not the worst idea in the world.
No, he's not he wouldn't be a bad bridge player, but I think he has shown he needs an offensive line and needs a good coaching staff, because I've seen him on the Jets with a bad coaching and a bad line, and it didn't work out so well. But I mean,
Dable's a good coach offensively, and Giants O-line is what's less than awful, but not worse than good.
I was thinking also line could be improved in this team, but they have fantastic coaching. If Stafford were to retire and the Rams wanted a stopgap guy for the time being, I don't think Darnold would be a bad option for the Rams if Stafford were to walk away after the season.
I like that. Honestly, I really do. Okay, so am I the only one who thinks this might be Stafford's last ride?
I've been thinking it was Stafford's last ride for like 3 years, to be honest with you.
Well, it all depends on how next Sunday goes.
I honestly wouldn't have been surprised if he retired after the Super Bowl, but the handful of years after that. So, like we've said, though, like DJ mentioned, Rams usually do bad, good, bad, good. This was the good year. I think this was supposed to be the good year, and it was. So next year should be the down year. Maybe get out now, because I don't think he's going to make it to 2 more years.
Cooper Kupp needs to possibly move on.
Cooper Kupp needs a lot of health treatment.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to not play in that crap hole stadium.
1 catch for like 15 yards yesterday.
Well, they were also They were bracking the hell out of him too.
It is now Puka Town.
Even Puka Town was struggling yesterday too. And imagine next week.
There's no more Cup City in the Rams. I think Puka is taking over as he is that guy. As long as he's healthy, he is that guy.
Damn right. But they're gonna have a challenge next week for sure to deal with Mitchell and DeJean. And then my lack of knowledge.
I think it's gonna be a close game.
It will
Puka
be.
versus Quinyon is going to be my most interesting matchup, because I know Slay struggled against him in the last matchup. I'm interested to see DeJean versus a more experienced DeJean, who made a couple mistakes on Sunday. Let's not act like he did. He got away with a few. I want to see him on Cooper Kupp or Darius. I want to see how they scheme for this, because now Kyron Williams is getting hot again. And I'm kind of like, they're playing the line. The Rams are the hot team. Also, I guess this is kind of my point to make on football before we move to college, then we get out of here. My title is quoting the late, great Denny Green saying, They are who we thought they were. Well, I'll summarize. Steelers had no offense. They were going to lose. Bingo. Broncos were inexperienced. The Bills were a superior team. Bingo. Packers have limited health and limited offensive talent. Eagles defense is a literal monster. Boom. Bucks and Commanders literally was down to a coin flip. There were two evenly balanced teams. Sam Darnold went back to Sam Darnold ways. Also, lack of coaching experience in the playoffs for the Vikings did not help either. Also, Sean McVay's been in the playoffs almost every year since he started coaching. When absent like 2 maybe.
He's got a Super Bowl.
Chargers have a weak roster. Texans are pissed off. They should have been a Super Bowl contender. There you go. That just summed up every single game. Exactly what the rhetoric was coming into the playoffs. And yet we still missed our bets.
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. I think Chris had the best week.
He did, going away, right? All right. Whew. Yeah, so I said, I don't know if you guys remember on Thursday, I said the key to the game was Drew Adler. I think it was Carter, the edge rusher, and then Singleton, the running back. Singleton and Carter played good. Adler was awful. Did not complete a single pass to wide receiver, and maybe the dumbest interception I had ever witnessed in their own red zone. That was the most Penn State way to end their season. So, other than that, game was great back and forth. I enjoyed watching the whole thing. But, God, I'm rooting for Notre Dame in the championship. That is weird. Oh,
yeah, I don't want. I was rooting hard but I don't want Ohio State.
I'm going to make a point about that in a second, about why I'm actually not mad about this matchup. There's a certain subtle reason why I'm not mad about this matchup. But my next headline for the next game sums up everything we knew about this whole offseason. So all I'm going to say is this. I'll finish. I'll let you, Matt. I'll let you kind of wrap this in a bow. Penn State's going to be good next year because both Adler and Singleton are coming back. Notre Dame's going to be good next year as long as they get a good quarterback, possibly Quinn Ewers. Cowherd may have been right there. I'm not sure. But, yeah, both teams have good futures coming up, but one's got a shot at the title, one doesn't now. So, anything else you got on this one?
Yeah, Aller looked bad. Aller looked bad to the point where don't even, like I said, I like Aller a lot. Don't even think about going to the draft this year. Just go back to college. Even if you transfer, whatever you're going to do, just go back to college. You got your running backs coming back. You already got some familiarity coming back. Just stay in college because you're not ready.
I think they have a good receiving recruiting class coming in too, I believe.
I think so,
that's
too.
a decent one.
Wiley Leonard looked bad, too. Honestly. I know they won the game and everything, but 15 for 23 with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. I mean, he didn't look good either. And it's kind of crazy to think of the quarterbacks that were going into. Quinn Ewers might have been the best one on paper out of all 4 of them, really. But, yeah, he didn't look good. I mean, really, you look at the entire stats. The running game wasn't there for Notre Dame. The passing game wasn't there for Notre Dame. Just the defense just kept him in check, and just Aller having a bad game. If he just had even just a good, above average kind of game for himself, they could have been a whole different story. But Notre Dame is going to play the Buckeyes into the championship. That's all I got.
And this is my other headline. It was inevitable. Texas, to me, is that team who, how do I describe this? They're the Ravens of the last couple of years. A lot of talent, a lot of fun pieces, but it seems like everything's a little misplaced. And they're winning barely. They should be winning games by a lot, but they're winning barely. Ohio State's inevitable. The $21 million roster, the sudden confidence and belief in Will Howard, which as much as I crap on him, he's been playing great. And listen, Ryan Day took that personally in the Michigan game. And they got probably the best running back 1-2 punch in the country, and Trevion Henderson and Keyshawn Junkins. So, and Jack Sawyer, that defense have played incredible. So I can't really, to be honest, I'm surprised Texas didn't lose by more. The way that game looked.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, Ohio State's defense came to play, and Texas offense did not come to play.
Yeah.
There was really no run support for Texas. It was really all on Quinn Ewers' arm. I mean, I know he had 283 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns and interception, but the team just overall just didn't look good. I think they'll be good going forward with Arch Manning stepping up as starter. Hopefully he's there for a few years. I don't know, unless he wants to do this whole, start a year going to the draft as a Manning, maybe get to the first overall. Maybe he wants to follow his uncle's footsteps at one of their teams. But Texas, I think, will be good for the long run going forward with Arch Manning. Ohio State looked great. Like you said, as much as we may not care for him, Will Howard's been playing great. The defense played great. They have a solid team ahead, and this could be a fun matchup. And when is it next week or is it a week after?
Next Monday.
Next Monday. Yeah,
We're doing the pregame for it, basically.
Oh yeah,
So-
I'm gonna have to get a Red Bull. I'm gonna have to get a Red Bull. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know I'm only 29, but I'm gonna have to get a Red Bull.
No, that's okay. I'm running on 5 hours of sleep today. I could not. I slept like crap last night. Somehow I feel better, even though I slept like crap. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
but I mean, yeah, like you said, the headline says it best. Unfortunately, this was the inevitable. I was rooting hard for Texas, but they just didn't. They didn't come to play.
Yeah, I hear you. One thing I did actually, shut up. Hey, we don't have to like it. We accept it. We don't have to like it.
Yeah.
See?
Go Irish.
Yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
I guess go Irish, right? There is one cool thing. This is my last note before we head out of here. This was brought to my attention today while scrolling TikTok. By the way, if you want a soap opera scandal, watch this series of events the last 48 hours about the TikTok ban. It is hysterical. Meta's stock is tanking as of this morning. The number one downloaded app is the Chinese run version of TikTok, which is called like Red Note or something.
All right, that's all. That's all I got for you.
Jeez. And then on top of all that, now with all this happening, you have 2 senators apparently have come forward and asked to delay the bill 270 days, basically the full year, or almost a full year. And then you also have President-elect Trump asking for this is according to CBS News, so bear with me. I don't know how much this is all true yet, but I've heard things that they want a continuance of it until he goes into office, which is the day after the ban goes into effect. So a lot of things interesting. But one thing it did show me today was this content creator who I've seen before. He's a Christian sports guy. The 2 biggest, I guess, most outspoken teams going back to their faith with Christianity, Catholicism, whatever you want, this year have been Notre Dame and Ohio State. It's interesting to me, as a kid who's raised Catholic, believes in the whole Christianity and all that other stuff, and tries to practice as well as I can, that the 2 teams have really kind of steered into, letting God in the whole 9 yards. 2 teams in. I found that very interesting. My mom actually sent me a video about Marcus Freeman being the first coach they've had since I think like 05 or 07, like pre Brian Kelly. I think maybe the guy before him. They instituted Team Mass again, which used to be like a tradition in Notre Dame, being a Catholic school. And then Notre Dame, I guess Ohio State would do like a stadium-wide prayer before games or after games. So I just find it really interesting for all of you who kind of look into that kind of stuff, the theological stuff. But other than that, to a lot of college football fans, this is the darkest timeline. 2 of the most annoying fan bases on the planet going toe-to-toe. And no, Bane is not going to show up. Neither is a meteor going to hit the stadium. We're going to have this game played. And by the way, Belly Up's got some cool content coming up for that as well, so stay tuned. But at the same time, you'll hear us talk about Thursday. You'll hear us talk about it Monday. So, all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to our sponsors, candidates.com, promo code BELLYUP20 for 20% off. SeatGeek, promo code BELLYUP Sports for $20 off your first initial purchase. And Righteous Felon, promo code BELLYUP for 15% off. Official sponsor of Nate's Penalty Box and the Korner Podcast. Matt, do you have something else to say before you dip?
I do. Two quick things to say before we go. Something to note with the Vikings loss. don't be surprised if maybe we get a Brian Flores head coaching notification the next couple of days or a week or so. Not that team's out.
Ooh.
And also something I just read from The Athletic, there is a serious real buzz that the next Jacksonville Jaguars head coach could be Robert Saleh.
Ew.
I actually don't hate that.
I don't. I mean,
I don't know. Listen,
Yeah.
I don't blame Rob Saleh for New York. I think he had all the right intentions, but he has the dumbest owner in football. Second dumbest.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
That Jag
I think
GM
Rob-
is up though for my fault. Go ahead, Jay. My fault. But
Yeah, no. Well, Trent Baalke's gonna be Trent Baalke. Trent Baalke also doesn't miss a ton. It's just his misses are very evident. Like, I'm sorry, Trayvon Walker took him an extra year to develop, but now he's a solid edge rusher. Josh Hines Allen, great edge rusher. A lot of his guys he's nailed. Free agent signings haven't been terrible. He's just, I think we look at Jacksonville through the wrong lens. I think that's the problem with him.
Yeah, and I mean, you look back at his time in San Francisco, there are some misses, and like you said, same thing, hits and misses on that same thing. But
no GM's perfect except Howie. But listen, Howie had his misses. Howie's been on a generational run, but 2016 through 2019, I think he only hit a couple. He missed on Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
His first
But you
hit was
still
Jalen
got-
Hurts. His
yeah,
first
but
real
you still
hit
got
was
that Super Bowl right before that too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was a couple of Chip Kelly guys and a couple of him and Doug Peterson playing quick roster switcheroo. But as much as I don't want to admit it, a lot of those guys were Chip Kelly brought in guys. So, or even Andy Reid in the case of like Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, and Jason Kelsey. So it's really scary. The only guy who's surviving now, and Fletcher Cox, the only surviving guy left is Lane, which is crazy because BG is probably not going to play next year. So,
Well, one of the best tackles in the league.
best right tackle of our generation. I will not hear anything otherwise. The fact that he didn't make it as an All-Pro over Penei Sewell is a joke.
Yeah, that is insane.
It
Penei
is
Sewell, great
totally
tackle.
fan service because he has
Yeah.
better numbers than Sewell and did not allow a single sack this year. But whatever. But that's it. That's all, folks. My voice is about to kick out. I'm gonna go enjoy some elk burgers and relax. We'll catch you guys on Thursday. We are back to Mondays permanently as of next week. It will be Mondays, Thursdays for the foreseeable future unless we make an announcement otherwise. This was today. I was too sick to do yesterday, so I would have made it 20 minutes in yesterday and probably coughed my way out. So, but appreciate you boys hanging in there with me. To all you watching, appreciate you as well. We'll see you Thursday. Peace.
Love you guys.